Soundstripe.
What's up, everybody? We Book It fam. Hope everyone's good, doing good out there. Happy New Year to everyone. Hope the start of the new year has treated you well. Hope you all had a great holiday last year, Christmas, as well as a good New Year's Eve. I am your host, Big Daddy C, and we have our special guest here, Coach. What's going on, Coach, man?
Hey, see, nothing much, man. Just trying to survive the snowstorm.
Oh we seem like we're getting more snow. But thank you all for joining. This is the All Elite Recap Show. We have returned. We took a week off last week to kind of give us a break from everything. So now we are back. We had our first show on Monday, doing the recap for the big Netflix debut for Monday Night Raw. So here we are back again for the recap for the AW Dynamite show tonight. So starting out, we had had a high profile match. We have Buddy Matthews versus Will Ospreay. You think about these two guys in the ring; their styles go hand in hand. It's perfect matchup. And so these two, it gave you everything you want to expect. Just hard hitting blows, high flying maneuvers, back and forth counters, everything you can think of in the typical match between, any match with Will Ospreay, any match with Buddy Matthews, this is something you're going to get. So this is a grade A, type of match right here, 5-star. And so ultimately, Ospreay would prevail in this match against Buddy Matthews. Basically, let me see here. What's Ospreay's finish again, Coach?
He did the Styles Clash, and then he did the Hidden Blade.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah. So he finished it off with that, and so Will Ospreay is pretty much tired by the end of the match. He had a promo that he cut afterwards. So he's pretty much out of breath almost. And so, what did you think of the match and the promo came after?
Oh man, I loved this match. This was such a good one. It was a great way to start out Dynamite, and I think I don't want to push ahead too much, but it might set the tone for what AEW is building right now, especially with their new Max deal for their streaming rights and everything. The one thing I did take away with this from Ospreay's promo was that he mentioned Matthews and Brody King and how much he respected him.
Right.
But no mention of Malachi Black. And so that his future's kind of been up in the air with AEW. I mean, obviously a lot of talks. Yeah. A lot of talks about him possibly going back to WWE. So this just makes it even more of a serious question when he only mentions Matthews and Brody King. And see, I don't think he mentioned Black's name at all, but he insinuated stepping out of his shadow by those two since they're part of the House of Black. So that's kind of the big one.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing with this storyline. But yeah, great.
You see how he accidentally called him Buddy Murphy instead of Buddy Matthews?
Yes.
Yep. So next up we have Bobby Lashley versus Mark Briscoe. And so this match here, let's see here. So yeah, you know anything about the Briscoes, like especially rest in peace to the other Briscoe brother. But anything about the Briscoe brothers, man, they gonna bring it. They gonna bring the fight, man. And so that's what he did against Lashley. But ultimately, Lashley, the power is just too much. So he eventually finished him off with the spear and the hurt lock. And so basically, Lashley, pretty impressive start in his AEW career so far. You got wins over Swerve Strickland. Now you got a dominant win against Briscoe. So the future is definitely looking bright for Bobby Lashley. And so MVP was on commentary. He's talking up Lashley as usual. And then it looks like Benjamin, Sheldon Benjamin, are going to more likely dethrone the Private Party and take those tag team championships at some point. It's about that time. I think it's time for them to get some tag team gold. And I like it. You're not putting Lashley into the world championship picture yet. Start him off, with some tag team championship. But actually, I don't even know the last time Bobby Lashley even won a tag team championship. I don't know if he's ever won.
I don't think he ever. I don't remember him ever winning one in WWE.
Maybe TNA. I don't know, but I don't ever remember him winning one in WWE. So I have to go back and check on that. But it'll be nice to see him get some tag team gold for once. And I think Sheldon Benjamin is one of the perfect guys to do that with, especially somebody that he's had a long history with, a long relationship with in the business. So I'm definitely excited to see what happens with that. See here. Okay. Next up, we have the men's casino gauntlet, which is basically for a number one contender spot at the AEW World Championship. And so in this match, we had Jay White, Hangman Adam Page, Wheeler Yuta, Ricochet. We had Adam Cole, Daniel Garcia, Powerhouse Hobbs, Roderick Strong, Lance Archer, Kyle O'Reilly, and Jeff Jarrett. And so you think about all the guys in this match, man. Any guy could, they're believable to come out on top and win this match. But Powerhouse Hobbs, man, it's like he was determined to do what he needed to do and be as dominant as he possibly could. Basically wins this match by beating O'Reilly with a spine buster. And so it was pretty good fun match. Think about these guys. It's a wild combination of superstars, to say the least. So what did you think about this, Coach?
Loved it. I thought this match was great. It was, if I'm being honest with myself, I was not expecting Powerhouse Hobbs to win. And when he won, I was greatly happy that I was wrong, that I didn't think he was going to win, because I was like, this was a good change of pace. Like, is he going to dethrone Moxley? Probably not. But it's giving somebody another opportunity to showcase their skills in a championship match, because that's essentially what it's all about when you have a guy like Moxley being your champion. You're not going to trade back and forth. You're wanting to see who is somebody that is going to step up when we eventually do decide to dethrone Moxley. And I think Powerhouse Hobbs is a great person to do it, because not only that, but he also has history with John Moxley, because Moxley got him over to AEW. So it builds up that storyline, that the championship, like a very brief storyline that you need for a week until the championship match. I think that's perfect. It's simplistic booking, and it works for something like this, especially with Maximum Carnage coming up next week. It's not a big pay-per-view. It's just one of the shows that AEW does sometimes in the middle of the week. And when you have a short storyline like that, just doing it very simplistic is perfect. So I tip my cap to the AEW booking department for this one, and I think it's going to be a great match next week.
As what they called, well, most people call it a glorified house show, but in this case, a glorified televised house show. That's pretty much what they do from time to time, and it kind of makes up for them not having pay-per-views every month. So
right,
it's like they're having a pay-per-view you know, in like in a week when in a weeks on a weekday as opposed to them, having spending so much money for a pay-per-view every month. They don't have the resources enough resources as of yet, like WWE has, to pull it off. So they don't have the years under their belt to do that.
Right.
But I think they'll get there eventually if they, just, well, I mean, we'll touch on that on the big pod episode. But moving on here, let's see. There was an interview that we had with Renee and Hobbs, who did admit, to touch on your point with the relationship between him and Mox, he did admit that Moxley was the reason he was in AEW. But he said he promised that he's going to put him down next week. So we'll see what happens with that. I definitely will be tuning in. So next up we have, let's see. Got a we got a segment here with Jeff Jarrett. He's talking about his future with Ian Riccaboni. But lo and behold, MJF will interrupt Jeff Jarrett and offer to help Jarrett win the AEW World Championship if he gave him the first title shot. And so Jarrett would eventually call MJF out. He called out MJF as an entitled and entitled individual and refused his offer, basically slamming the microphone into his chest. So a lot of back and forth between these two. These two can definitely deliver on the mic. And so basically after this feud that MJF had with Adam Cole, which was a very disappointing end. It needs a good feud to start off with to try to get his bearings back. So I think this will be a good sell if something happens between these two. I think that'd be something that could that can win over the fans. Jeff Jarrett, man, he doesn't get enough love and respect. The man was bold and brave enough to take the first shot and really like go at WWE and like create a company that could rival. And he did that. TNA held their own for many years, like even bringing in former WWE guys. And so there was a time during the glory days of TNA, man. I was tuning in every week. I was watching WWE and TNA, man. It was a time to be alive as a wrestling fan. Got great wrestling promotions all around, so I loved it. But yeah, Jeff Jarrett, he deserves to have more respect. And if this is his last hurrah, he definitely deserves to go out, with something nice. Go out with a bang. So we'll see what happens with him and MJF in the coming weeks. Moving on, let me see here. Oh, so basically, he one of the things he did call MJF was one hit wonder.
Yep.
Yeah, which caught the crowd, definitely tuned in with that and joined in. And so we'll see what happens.
He also mentioned that would be a good T-shirt, so we'll see if AEW comes out with that
right
soon.
Yeah, and so after that, AEW would air some highlights from Wrestle Dynasty with Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Mercedes Moné, Brody King, and Don Callis. They've seen some of those highlights. Man, I forgot who Kenny was going against, but man, it was some rough. It was some rough highlights, man. Like
Gabe Kidd.
Yeah. So man, it was blood everywhere, tables being smashed, everything. The typical Kenny Omega match. This dude is one of the best, to ever do it, man. Yeah, it's like it's hard not to have him on in your like pure wrestling Mount Rushmore. Kenny's up there. Then they will eventually show a vignette of the rivalry with Christian Cage and Hook. Looks like we're still continuing that rivalry. Eventually we move on to a segment with Cope and the Death Riders. So Cope basically warned um, the Death Riders. For those who don't know who Cope is, it's Adam Copeland, formerly known as Edge. So yeah, him and FTR, they're now known as Rated FTR, which is it's pretty cool.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah, I like it. It's kind of like a callback to him and Orton when they did the Rated RKO.
Yeah, I like
So,
it.
yeah, so I like it. So we'll see what happens with this, but of course, they're feuding with the Death Riders. Cope warned the Death Riders that they could not do anything to him that he could not come back from. As we know, Edge is a very resilient individual. He's been through a lot, neck injuries, everything. So he can come back from anything at this point. I wouldn't put it past him. So yeah, Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Pac, Willard, Yuta, and Marina Shafir. They arrived to prove him wrong. They fought off FTR and threatened to choke him out until Powerhouse Hobbs, of all people, arrived to make the save. Coach, what did you think of this segment?
It seemed awkward, honestly, this segment.
Mm-hmm.
I was just because these were guys that were just in the Casino Gauntlet and now they're coming back out. I mean, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of that. But what I did like was Powerhouse Hobbs again coming out, and you could see that Moxley, like that show of respect with him.
Yeah,
like when they were calling off, he was calling off the dogs and everything, and you could even maybe see a little bit of fear in Moxley's eyes. So again, simplistic booking for a short-term story.
Right.
For like a 1 week hype for the match. I thought that was great about the segment, but everything else, it just didn't feel right for some reason. Maybe I'm still getting used to Cope instead of Adam Copeland. Like, I don't know. Yeah. There was just something off about this segment.
Just when I was starting to get used to just calling him by his real name on in regards to wrestling terms. He just changes it to the Rated R Superstar Cope. Like, sir. I'm like, if you gotta pay WWE like to use the name Edge, do what you gotta do, man. I'm like, that's one thing I would have made sure I took on the way out. I want my name, I want my wrestling name to be able to use it everywhere I go. Like, that's what I want to do. Like, you look at AJ Styles, he's been able to use his name everywhere. His real name ain't AJ Styles. Right. But he can use it. He's used it everywhere he's been. So yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was a great segment. I'm all for crash out season is what we got going on. Shout out to my boys Ross and Dub over that in the clutch. Love them boys, man. We definitely got to connect soon. If y'all,
dude, if we can connect with Ross,
man,
that would be awesome. I love.
We gotta work our way up, man. We gotta work our way up.
I know.
They among the greats when it comes to this wrestling podcast stuff, man. So we'll get there eventually. But yeah, shout out to those guys, man, legends. Moving on, we have let's see. I know I'm missing out something because so eventually that did not end there. The Death Riders would eventually, let me see. Well, that was during that segment they laid him out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so we're good on that segment.
Okay. All right, moving on here. We got the Casino Gauntlet #1 spot. Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander versus Tony Storm. So in this match, these three, you got the history with Statlander and Willow Nightingale, former partners. Statlander turned on Willow about a few months ago, I believe. And so still got old Stokely by her side. I love Stokely, man. That dude is hilarious. But yeah, so Tony Storm and Willow Nightingale fought hard throughout the match, but Chris Statlander would pretty much hit the hardest as she normally does, and she connected with the Big Bang Theory. Let's see. Yeah, she connected with the Big Bang Theory for the win. These are three of the best women in the division on AEW, and three of the best women wrestlers in the world. It was nonstop action between these two, and at this present moment, all three wrestlers are baby faces, so that added to the dynamic of this match as well. And so there was the crowd was all into it, and it's good to see Statlander still getting her opportunities. So I'm definitely excited to see what happens with her and Mariah May at Grand Slam. Coach, what did you think of this match?
First off, with all three of these women, whoever won was going to be an excellent choice.
Right.
I would have been okay with either one of them winning because I think just because of how great all three of them are and deserving of it. When it comes to Statlander and Willow, yes, they're both baby faces, but you could still kind of feel the tension of when Statlander turned on Willow, and it almost looked like they were trying to one up each other throughout the night, kind of forgetting about Toni Storm because she had a couple of roll up attempts for near fall. So I thought that was kind of good storytelling there, and of course Tony's new character where she's pretty much got amnesia and is back to like being a rookie, which again, love it, love it. I love this. I just, man, I just love Toni Storm. Who am I kidding? Anything she does is great.
Yeah.
But great match all the way around. And like I said, Statlander, Willow, or Tony, whoever you pick, would have been perfect. I like the direction because I think Statlander brings a legitimate threat to Mariah May where she could actually dethrone May at Grand Slam. So I think that's a good choice.
Mm-hmm. And so next up, we had the homecoming of Kenny Omega. So basically he comes out to the ring, basically letting everyone know that he is not ready to step away from professional wrestling, even if the doctors advised him that he needed to based on a risk. Eventually Don Callis, I gotta be careful what I say on here. That damn Don Callis came out there to interrupt him. And the cleaner, as we know him best, tried to get his hands on Don Callis based on what happened the last time these two were in the ring. And then eventually Brian Cage, Lance Archer, and Kyle Fletcher would come out to make the save. And then this will bring out Will Ospreay with a steel chair, leading to an awkward face-off between the former rivals to end the show. Give it to us. Tony Khan, give us the match, please.
It's going to happen. Don't worry.
This number 3, right? This will be number 3, right?
Yes.
And they're one apiece, right?
Yes.
Tony Khan, give us the goddamn match, man. We need it.
That's going to happen at All In. It's going to happen at All In. Don't worry.
Damn, how far? Yeah, we got to wait to the end of the year. Come on, man.
Patience.
At least double or nothing, since that's their like.
Oh no, that actually could be a good.
Yeah, because double or nothing is basically their Mania, right? Like I would say, double or nothing is their WrestleMania. At least because
I don't know. I think it just depends on the venue sometimes.
Yeah. Because a lot of people argue. Well, a lot of people argue All In because since they have those at the bigger like arenas overseas, so I guess they would probably say that that's the Mania, their version of Mania. But I ain't trying to wait to that, man. I like double or nothing would be a good spot for this match to happen because that was where it all started with Kenny Omega being like one of the top guys, man. So like Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay. We need three. We need it. We need it. Tony Khan, give it to us. But nevertheless, Coach, what did you think of this segment? And are you ready for Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega 3?
Segment was simple. Again, I'm not a big fan of Don Callis, just like you see, but that just means he's doing his job. If
Yep. Yes,
if we
indeed.
hate him,
Yep.
but yeah, I thought it was a good way to reintroduce Kenny back into was again. I've said this a bunch of times tonight. Simple. It was simple but effective booking, and that's something that AEW has been missing. They've sometimes they overbook, sometimes they underbook, or they book themselves into a corner. This one was perfect, simple booking. And then you get the tease of Osprey and Omega 3. And I think what's probably going to happen is these two are probably going to team up as a tag team against the Don Callis family. And then once that's finished, then we'll start getting the build for
Yeah.
their third match.
Yeah. Before that, though, he'll probably have there's one man that's standing in his way first before we get to that. Outside of Don Dylan, outside of the feud with the Don Callis family, there was a teaser when Kenny returned, him and Okada. So that will be something that will happen. I believe that will happen first before all of this ends. And he moves on to Osprey. I think him and Okada will clash at some point in time. But overall, this was a pretty decent show. I give it a solid. I give it a solid B. Oh wait, okay. I think I missed out on some. Okay. Oh, there was another segment here. I don't know if this was early on. It might have been something else. There was a interview with Chris Statlander and Renee, but I think that might have been outside of the show. But
Yeah, that was a
yeah,
different. I think that was before the
just
show.
AW, yeah, AW, yeah, close up or something on YouTube. Yeah. All right. So overall, it was a great show. I give it a solid B. Was getting ready, for next week with the matches here. Coach, overall, what did you think of the show?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna give it a B plus. I think it was a really good Dynamite show. I think where it kind of fell off was that middle section with Cope and the Death Riders. I just feel like it just felt awkward. But if
Yeah.
we're talking in ring action, I thought in ring action was great tonight. And then capping it off with Kenny Omega coming back, um, cherry on top because he's one of, if not the best in the world in wrestling. And it's just good to see him back after all the health issues he's dealt with because that disease is not fun to deal with.
Yeah.
And me personally, I've had a friend of mine who has gone through that disease. So I
Mhm.
resonate with Kenny Omega. And while I don't know what he's going through, I know the pain that it can cause. So it's it's tough. So I'm glad that he's back.
Yep, same here, man. Hopefully Kenny, in this present day and age, you got a lot better, technology and doctors and medicine and everything and more resources now to for wrestlers to be able to combat these type of injuries and diseases compared to decades ago. So I wishing Kenny the best. Hopefully he can stick around as long as he can, but also being cautious with his health as well. Because you don't want to see, you don't want to have any issues where we seen what happened with wrestlers in the past that have had head injuries and all the other stuff. And so hopefully Kenny can not contribute to that stigma, that stereotype. So hopefully he'll be well throughout the year, years to come. So that is the show. Thank you all for tuning in to the All Elite Recap show. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast, all social media platforms, just about. We're on TikTok as well, probably for the next 2 weeks until they detonate it. And so, we're also we're Spotify. We're not on. I thought we was on Apple, but I don't think we're not on Apple Podcasts as of yet. But yeah, continue to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. Thank you all again for tuning in. I am your host, Big Daddy C, and we have our guest here, Coachman. We'll catch you guys on Friday for the the SmackDown Throwdown. That's at least what we're calling it. But Frito's got 50,000 names for it at this point in time. So, but we will catch you guys after SmackDown is off the air. I know it's 3 hours, but we still gonna bring you the recap afterwards. So stay tuned. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Peace.